to the Voiceover Round Table. I'm Mike Tobin.
And I'm Emma O'Neill. Every week, we get together to talk about all things voiceover, with a special focus on community.
Bringing you in-depth interviews, roundtable discussions, special performance events, and industry-leading guests.
Let's get started. This is the Voiceover Round Table. Yeah. Oh, it feels so good to be back. And just before we jump into the show, I just wanted to take a second to reflect on what happened last week.
Yeah. Oh, I need to take a minute.
Yeah.
Last week was our what you'd call season premiere, if you wish. We took a summer break and we came back, and last week was the first show of this season, and some really, really amazing stuff happened last week.
It was just wild. What started out as just like a little seed of an idea, her roots, and flowered into the most incredible showing of community we have seen on this show. We became aware of one of our own who was in need of voice actor and vocalist, Bobby Alcott, who is facing a cancer diagnosis, along with the massive financial burden that the battle and treatment can bring.
And, we started talking about it, and I really have to give you credit, Emma, because you did an incredible job assembling what I would call a truly all-star cast from the voiceover industry on such short notice. I mean, I asked you, I said, do you think Tina would come on for a little bit? And she did. and some others were coming, and then you added more, and
it kind of just snowballed. Like Tim Tippis joined, and Kim Herden, and Tom Antonellis, and not only did they show their support for Bobby, but stepped up with some amazing deals on their coaching and their courses. And of course, we're happy to share that. There was also an outpouring of interest and support from our community, and things are still going strong, which is just amazing. Thank you.
Yeah. So please, if you weren't listening to the show last week and you haven't done so already, do check out the replay of the show, because many of the offers and links are still available, which is a good thing for you. But also, it's a great chance for you to also show your support for Bobby and for this great cause.
Yeah. And I mean, even though Liz was not on the show, we want to send out a huge, huge shout out to Liz Atherton, who started the Spot Fund campaign for Bobby and his family.
Yep. So again, go check out the replay, and even if none of those coaching offerings and the deals that are offered and stuff appeal to you, or if it's just not the right time, there's a Spot Fund that is mentioned in the show.
Yeah.
It's also in Emma's post about last week on social. So if you can't find it, track it down. Any little bit helps. It's one of ours who's in need. Please do whatever you can. Tonight we're returning to one of our more common show formats, and we have a great guest joining us.
Yeah, we do. New York-based voice actor with over 25 years of experience, and he has narrated thousands of projects for hundreds of clients in over a dozen countries.
Bajillions. His experience as a corporate trainer, as well as his voice talent, make him uniquely qualified to help both aspiring and veteran voice talents navigate the voiceover industry. And he specializes in marketing and business consultations, as well as diagnostics, strategy sessions, mentorships.
So, what are we going to talk about tonight? Well, you got your training, shiny new demo, a website, and a home recording studio. Congratulations. Now what?
Right?
Now you learn how to think and execute like a business. Please welcome to the Voiceover Round Table our guest, Mr. Tom Dheere.
Wow.
Yeah, like that?
That was lovely. Thank you.
Hey, Tom.
Hi.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you so much for having me. This is great.
Absolutely.
Oh, man. It's great to have you. Thanks so much. It's great to have you on the show. And we got to know a little bit about you in that syrupy bio that we love to throw down for people. The treatment, as it's called.
Treatment.
But one of the things we love to throw at people sometimes is maybe I can ask you to share a bit of your what we call origin story. How the whole how'd you get into VO, and maybe some of the big moments in your journey so far, and
Sure.
Shoot.
Okay. Well, I'm theater trained. I went to the National Shakespeare Conservatory here in New York City.
Oh, wow.
Sounds much fancier than it really is. It's practicing Chekhov in room that smells like feet,
Yes, I do remember those days.
That's
yes.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
As
The price to pay.
Yeah. So my original plan is I wanted to be a New York-based Shakespearean actor. That was the plan. I didn't want to be rich or famous. I just wanted to be a blue collar, off Broadway, doing Shakespeare. That was my plan. And I left the school after 1 year for various reasons. And then I felt I was listless, adrift. And I'm still living at home because I was 22. And my mom's reading a copy of New Jersey Monthly Magazine, which is a local publication when I grew up, living in New Jersey. And she said, "Hey, what's voiceover?" I'm like, "I don't know." You kind of talk for money. And she's like, "Well, there's an advertisement for a coach nearby. Maybe you should check it out." So I called her. She said, "Yeah, come on down for a diagnostic." We did the diagnostic. She said, "You got potential." I worked with her for 6 months. And then we produced my commercial demo, which is a cassette tape, to give you an idea of how long ago this was.
What's that?
Yeah, I know. I still have it with the pixelated microphone on the J card.
I love it.
It's very exciting. And when I finished and I got the demo in my hand, my coach gave me a little certificate and a stack of Xerox copies of production company listings. And she said, "Okay, here's your certificate, here's your demos, start your cold calling, and good luck." Now, this was 1995. So there was no social media. There was no online casting. There was no home recording. There was no electronic file delivery. There was none of that. None of it. So all there really, really was cold calling, in which I did sometimes as much as 50 times a day. And it took me a year to get my first voiceover gig. And it was a public service announcement for herpes awareness. Yes, you can go to my SoundCloud and you can hear it. Herpes, don't let it rock your world. Get the facts.
Oh, wow.
It paid. I got paid very well for it. So I was and I went to a real recording studio, and it was met people. It was really exciting. But then I struggled for a very, very long time, primarily because I made all of my business decisions out of ignorance, ego, insecurity, and fear. So needless to say, I didn't get anywhere. And I went full-time in 2005. And of course, I had to get fired from my job to actually take the plunge because I was afraid to do it on my own. So I've been full-time since 2005. And I have been coaching, speaking, presenting, consulting since 2011. So it's been over 11 years that I have been helping voice actors navigate the voiceover industry. And it's mostly just for karmic reasons, because so many people were so kind to me when I had no idea what I was doing, and I didn't understand the industry, and I didn't understand my relationship to the industry, and most importantly, I didn't understand myself at the time. So there were so many wonderful people that helped guide me. So being the VO strategist is my way of paying it forward.
I love that you didn't know yourself. What a huge statement.
Well, I didn't. Well, the big thing, part of that was I didn't know myself, and I didn't think I deserved to be a success. I didn't think I deserved it, personally or professionally. So once I kind of got my arms around that, and my mind and my heart and everything else around that, I won't say that because of that self-actualization that my career instantly became successful. It was a confluence of that and a lot of really hard work, but being smart about the work, about what you should do and how you should do it, why you should do it. Yeah. Which is one of the big challenges for people entering the voiceover industry is that they don't know what they don't know.
Oh, you've heard that
all the time on the show.
Yeah.
It's like hashtag Vort. Hashtag you don't know what you don't know.
Right. Yeah, because you can't major in voiceover.
Yeah.
People decide they want to do this, and then they start Googling, and then, so a lot of times really bad things happen. Mostly bad as in they just lose a lot of money and they have gotten nowhere.
Yeah, I had a mentoring call with someone today who lost $6,000 to a quote unquote voiceover school.
Yeah, that's about yes. I've had I've had many of those conversations over the past 10 years.
Yeah.
It sucks a lot.
Oh man.
So not cool. And it's like, so voiceover continues to evolve. Like, so you've been doing this for a few years at this point. And you said, like what I said earlier about the shiny new demo and the website, the home studio, these were your words, but it's not just that talent have been, like, that's not just for like old school talent. It's not for like the old kids. It's for everybody. There's still so much interest in voiceover. And new talent go all in, like right out of the gates. So you just spoke about what you thought one of the challenges were. With this in mind, what do you think the biggest challenge newer talent have to face in 2023?
Besides AI?
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. It's like sure stuff. I don't know what's going on.
I think that it's actually a tie. It's one's educational and one's cultural.
Okay.
We here, I assume most of us are born and raised and educated in the United States, is that we are educated on the Prussian educational system, which is a 19th century educational system, which is designed to create soldiers and factory workers. Neither of those are particularly self-deterministic, or free thinking, or lateral thinking, or thinking at all. They are told what to do and to produce. And don't color outside the lines.
No.
So on an educational level, we are not taught how to think independently, much less creatively. The other problem is cultural, is that we here in America are in this American Idol chorus line, God, I hope I get it. If you're not a star, you're a loser mentality. So people come into the industry thinking that it's this hierarchical, vertical, you got to know somebody so you can get discovered and get lucky and all that crap.
Yeah, it's a lottery, right?
It's a lottery, and that's just
lottery.
So it's nonsense. I always say the 4 words that'll kill your voiceover business are breaks, competition, connections, and luck. And every single one of those things is external to you. You have no control over any of those things. But everybody trying to enter the voiceover industry immediately tries to relieve themselves of the responsibility of their career by relying on cosmic external forces. And that's why the vast majority of people who try to do voiceovers fail hard. Everything you need to do and be and have is internal. You know, your talent, your storytelling ability. Obviously, training comes from an external source and genre awareness and purchasing your stuff, but like understanding just how to tell a story. And I don't necessarily mean once upon a time, like when I narrate, helping people pick out their insurance, that's a form of storytelling.
Yep.
Creating a safe environment for people to feel comfortable and receptive to engagement. And that applies to every single genre of voiceover. Doesn't matter how exciting or boring anyone may think it is. So it's this just misunderstanding, a combination of misunderstanding what the industry is, and then this and then writing against the forces of our educational and cultural forces that have been pounded into us and onto us our whole lives. Those are really our biggest challenges, regardless of what year it is.
And I think that's so much bigger than voiceover. And I love that you mentioned that because, you go to school and then you got to go to university and then you got to find a job and then you got to, get a mortgage and all those tracks that are laid out.
Die.
And wait
to die. Get on that hamster wheel and wait to die. Or you can have fun when you retire.
Yeah.
That's God. That's why it's so great what we do. Right?
Yeah.
But let's talk about that elephant in the room that you briefly mentioned, because without a doubt, like one of the biggest freak out topics, and I say these days, these months, it appears like years now, is still AI. And surprisingly, there are still plenty of people that, despite all the freak out, still want to get into voiceover. But anyways, Emma knows, and our audience knows, that sometimes I want to avoid it altogether, the AI topic. And it's not so much the topic or the technology, because I'm going to acknowledge publicly there are benefits, and I'm sure there's some good in there. But I think it's just hoping to avoid that whole freak out and drama and everything like that. But tonight, I decided I was going to, and Emma's like, what happened to you?
You did a thing.
I did a thing. Trying to turn over a new leaf and open myself up to things, folks. I reached out to get some support to prepare some of our questions for you, Tom. And so I reached out to a good buddy named ChatGPT.
He did. He was like, I'm trying to get over my fear of the robots. I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Put it down. Put it down.
Why are you sawing off your arms?
Skynet activated. Like,
He's replacing it with a vacuum.
But honestly, here's the rub. I think we got some stuff we can use.
Yeah.
And so here is, now again, this is like, it's any of you who have toyed with ChatGPT or any of it's garbage in, garbage out, right? So if you put something decent in, you got more of a chance of getting something that might have some potential. So I was very cautious and thoughtful in the prompt that I put in. But here's one of the questions that came out. Mm-hmm. And it actually gave me a bunch of questions. Like, give me 5 questions to ask Tom. And it gave me a bunch. And it called this one future gazing. And it's question. And this is like direct quotes straight out of ChatGPT. And I like, this is a question I would have asked. With technological advancements, we're seeing the emergence of synthetic voices and AI-driven narrations. How do you see these technologies shaping the future of the voiceover industry? And what should voiceover artists do to stay relevant and competitive in this changing landscape? Literally word for word, man.
Those are great questions.
Yeah.
It's a great question.
Okay, so we'll tackle the first one. Well, it's the future. I mean, how will it be shaping? It's been shaping the voiceover industry for a good 5 years. It's just that we as a community have not been aware of it, which is shame on all of us, frankly. Shame on the voice seekers, shame on the actors, the agents, SAG-AFTRA, everybody. We are all responsible for that. And now we are all desperately playing catch up. Mm-hmm. So it's shaping the voiceover industry in a number of ways. And when it comes to positive use cases and negative use cases. And yes, Mike, there are positive use cases for AI in the voiceover industry.
Yep.
So it's shaping the arc of how the outside world perceives voiceover. Now, I have to preface it by saying this, is that every single industry has scumbags. Mm. Every sector of every industry, there's a certain percentage of people who are going to be some combination of cheap, corrupt, incompetent, objectifying, exploitative, and the voiceover industry is no different.
Yep. Yeah.
So yeah, there is a certain percentage of voice seekers who just see the dollars and cents of it and will try to use AI as much as possible to save as much money as possible. And there are some who will and have been trying to harvest voice actors' voices, mostly unwittingly, giving them little or no money at all, and then using their audio files to do their own thing without the consent or compensation of the voice actor. And that is dirty, stinky poo-poo. We do not like that at all.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but there are lots of positive use cases of how it's shaping the voiceover industry. Our friend Karin Gilfrey, uses the example of nobody can narrate the New York Times overnight. And a visually impaired person has as much right to ingest the New York Times as any other person.
Yep.
However, an AI can do it overnight and then have it ready for the visually impaired the next morning so they can enjoy it with their morning coffee as much as anybody else.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's lots of stuff. There's audiobooks that will never get produced unless it's done by AI. It'll just never happen for various financial or whatever other reasons. There's, 10,000 prompt telephony trees that could be done, over there, while the voice actor who, used his audio files or her audio files to create that synthesized voice can be over there narrating that audiobook or doing something else with their voiceover. So as a passive income stream for voice actors, it can be extremely useful. You can narrate an audiobook and then the celebrity who wrote the audiobook, they can synthesize their voice and then skin your performance with them.
Yeah. It's just got a shiver here.
And the voice actor gets paid to do that. They are still practicing their craft, and they're getting compensated for their time and effort.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of positive use cases, and there's a lot of negative use cases. And what was your second question, or ChatGPT's second question?
So it was, what the heck should we do to stay relevant and competitive?
Okay.
In the changing landscape?
Well, the same thing you should do even if there is no AI, which is be as strong of a storyteller as you possibly can, and be as develop your marketing and business skills as much as you possibly can. That has not changed.
Right.
What has changed is that, and this goes back to the first question, how it's shaping the industry, is that there may come a point in the next few years where the entry-level position gigs, which can be found on Upwork, Fiverr, and Voice123, Voices.com, and other places, just aren't going to be there anymore. They're just not going to exist, because they're all get scooped up by AI, which means if you do want to enter the voiceover industry, you'd better have some acting training. And I don't mean voiceover training, I mean acting training, on camera, theater, improv training, and then get some genre training and, microphone technique and stuff like that. So you can kind of hop over that divide that's going to exist, that the people who have no real performance training are going to be able to cross. So voice actor, the second half of that word is actor.
Yes.
Act with your voice. Get as much, and this is to everybody in the audience, get as much acting training as possible. In some ways, your theater training is going to be more valuable than your voiceover training. Because the demo coaches and the coaches and demo producers, they are experts. Well, the ones that are credible and ethical. And I have a coaching recommendation section on the Strategist website if you're looking for people that you can trust. They're supposed to teach you a very specific thing, e-learning, political or whatever it is. They're not necessarily responsible for you being able to emotionally connect. That's something you better have coming in, at least in my opinion. I mean, there are coaches out there that have theater training and can help you with that, but that's some serious, not even voiceover 101. That's some like remedial performance training you need to be able to, as a prerequisite, to be able to try to do voiceover. So the voiceover industry is contracting. We don't know how much it's contracting or how fast it's contracting, or what it's going to look like in a couple of years. But for those of you who are listening, if you want to stay relevant, get performance training and do it quickly.
Yep. And the audience, Nevin Stoltz, is saying the ideal situation is to let AI do the mundane, repetitive, or annoying tasks and leave the creative endeavors to the humans.
Yeah,
Yep.
Exactly. Because remember, technology is designed to make your lives easier. I mean, when they invented the wheel, did people scoff and protest against that?
Absolutely.
Hell no.
Awesome.
When the light bulb was invented, the only people that freaked out were the candle makers, because people are like, oh, now I can read a book in my home without it burning down. So AI is a disruptive influence.
Right.
And disruptive is a neutral thing. It depends on whether you're the disruptor or the disrupted. Pay to Plays disrupted the voiceover industry. Now it's now it's baked into the cake of the voiceover industry. Now it's AI. In a few years, it'll be something else. But are you going to ignore it, fight it, or adapt to it, or embrace it?
Yeah.
I have embraced it.
For show.
I cloned my voice, and it's making money, and I'm very comfortable with it. My contract is sound because I got Rob Siglin-Paglia to make adjustments as needed, and I had lots of conversations with them. Then it's making money, and it's over there making money while I'm over here, being the artist.
Yeah.
And you just leveled up just by saying his name so emphatically and perfectly without missing a beat.
Well, we've been friends for 20 years, so I've had
love Rob. He, such it's so great. I think in what you're saying, there's so much that, the whole disruption thing, I don't think back and like digital files messed up a lot of stuff, like changed a lot, music industry, tons of stuff, voiceover for sure. Changing landscape, right?
Yeah.
Just from the audience, where did you clone your voice?
Oh, I did it through Murf, M-U-R-F. You can find them at murf.ai. If you go to tomdeere.com, I actually just published the landing page today. If you go to tomdeere.com and you go to the genre section and you can say, you look for digital voice, you can hear samples of my synthesized voice.
Ooh, excellent.
Mm-hmm. And some of you may hear it and go, oh, some of that's not so great. And some of it may sound like, oh, crap, we're all going to lose our jobs. Some of it sounds really good and some of it doesn't sound really good.
Yeah.
But my point is that I have many years of theater training and improv training and decades of voiceover experience to be able to have the output be okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
I'm putting mine on 11 Labs right now. So
yeah, 11 Labs. Yeah, that's another one. But, this is text-to-speech stuff, which most of it doesn't sound, great. It sounds, for a lot of purposes, good enough. Like, I don't know, Siri and Alexa.
Yeah.
It's good enough to do certain things. And that's fine. It's fine. It's not going to be the voice of Nike anytime soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's we're interesting in that we're in a period of time right now. Like I know that here in Canada, one of the things that made the news this week was I think certain government agencies are prohibiting the use of AI within certain realms of work and things like that. And more companies are starting to do that too. So I think we're going to start seeing some of that. I think the legislative stuff and the rules and regulations of how it's used need to catch up because
yes. Yeah.
It's wild.
I was just watching some of the replay of the evocation over the weekend. I was on an AI panel over the weekend at evocation. And it was wonderful as always. I was really glad to be a part of it. And I was watching some of the replays. And Tim Friedlander was talking about the National Association of Voice Actors is working in Washington right now.
Yep.
And with the EU right now, trying to, pass legislation or amend or adjust legislation to make sure that voice actors are protected.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're doing incredible work.
They are.
Incredible work. It's just, it's phenomenal to bear witness to.
It really is.
So, yeah. I think that people want to talk about this in the chat, but I just want to hit one more question about like you and what you're doing with your career, because you've been in the industry for a few decades. And because you're a business coach and a strategist and a mentor, what are some of the biggest challenges you've seen on the business side of voiceover and how have they impacted your coaching approach?
The biggest thing is that most people don't realize they need to comport themselves as a business going in. They think they just get the demo and then all of a sudden the phone's going to ring and someone will say, we heard you had a great voice and you want to talk for money. We've got this pile of cash sitting here. Can you be at the studio at 10? Like people think that's what's going to happen. Yeah. And it's just like, no, it's like you need to figure out how to file your taxes. Yeah. You need to figure out time management. You need to figure out how to, embrace failure over a long period of time.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Like I just, every month I look at my, my booking ratio. Like on Voice 123, my booking ratio for the year has been 4%, and I was thrilled because that's a good number.
Yeah, you're like, woo,
yeah,
going well.
So, which means 96% of my auditions go in the garbage can.
Yep,
right.
I mean, have to have thick skin.
The Ken Burns baseball documentary. And those who fail 7 out of 10 times are considered the sport's greatest.
Best, yeah.
Like,
batting 300.
Yeah, exactly. Which means you have a failure rate of 70%.
Yeah.
So the ability to embrace failure is a big part of it. And it's also developing, understanding that you have to have systems. You have to be able to develop a certain assembly line mentality, a workflow mentality, specifically about auditions and booking. So I'm at my desk every morning at 7:30, and I am going to Voice 123 and Voices.com and checking my agents, the auditions that my agents and managers sent me, and the ones I got through my direct marketing clients, and I am cranking it out. And I'm doing 5 minutes per audition, and I'm just cranking. And I know the people who are early in their journey and my students are like, it takes me half an hour to do one audition. I'm like, well, you got to develop your workflow. Mm-hmm. You have to you have to streamline the process and make yourself as efficient and effective as possible, because I got laundry to do, while I'm trying to do all this stuff. So, I'm making sure I don't take more than 5 minutes for an audition, and I do one take, and I'm at the point now that I don't listen to half of them. I just know that I got it and I just send it along. But that's also part of the journey too, of being able to feel comfortable with your first take.
Yeah. We've had numerous casting directors kind of say that and reassure us to say, it doesn't need to be perfect. It's an audition. We want to hear the quality of your voice. We want to hear your take. We want to hear you being real and authentic.
Oh, no. My auditions are perfect, Mike.
That's the trick.
That's what it is. So,
okay.
No, but you're absolutely right. And here's the other thing, folks, is that they're going to listen. The end client's going to listen to the first 3 seconds, and either they like you or they don't. Either you sound like their cousin or you don't. And if you don't, you're out. And that's that. And you have no control over that. The casting process is completely arbitrary and random. It's impossible to figure out anything except be a good storyteller, make strong choices, and make sure you're delivering clean audio. That's all you can do.
In a nutshell. Love that.
Yeah.
No, it's very, very true. It's always interesting to hear different people's perspectives, and it always comes down to the same thing. It's like, don't not do the work and just slap something out and see what sticks. Do the work, but try to find a middle ground where you're not obsessing about what it is that you're doing and try to find quote unquote perfection, because there's no such thing.
Yeah.
And at the same time, don't just get in there and be like, yeah, stay focused, stay positive. You got this. Cool. That was my first take. Good. Send that in. It's cool.
Yeah.
Just reading random signs in my office. But yeah, finding the middle ground and figuring out your workflow. And for some people, that's 5 minutes. For some people, that's 10 minutes, but not spending half an hour per, just because it's true. You don't have that much time in the day.
No.
So we have some questions.
Bring them on.
In the audience.
Now, are any of these audience members ChatGPT?
Right?
Or getting their questions from ChatGPT?
We're gonna have to figure that out. I don't know.
We need
Audience
I don't know. Those questions are pretty good, so I don't think that would be the
Right?
worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
I know. We have a question from Michael. There is a rumor that cloning your voice is somewhat of a security risk. Is that true?
It's only a security risk if you don't understand what the contract that you're signing.
Yes. Yes. Very valid.
What is it? Taylor Swift. They said to Taylor Swift, "What's the secret to being a big pop star?" And she said, "Get a good lawyer."
Yep. It's true.
You're it's only as secure as the contract. And that's why, when I decided I wanted to get my voice cloned, I took meetings with, I think it was 6 different AI production companies, Murph being one of them.
Cool.
And some of them were just conversations because they were still not ready for curating a roster yet. So there was more about them asking me questions as much me asking them questions.
Mhm.
And some of them said, okay, here's our agreement. Then Rob Siglampaglia, I paid him to look at all of them. And some of the contracts, he said, yeah, these are fine. You're good. No problem. Some of them said, for some of them, he said, okay, you need to adjust this, this, and this. And for some of them, he said, oh, this is awful. Run. Don't look back. So, so that's part of the process. And you just need to understand how and why this all works. And if you don't, that's when you pay someone who does understand how and why this all works. Because remember, you have to invest in your voiceover business. It takes money. And I know most of the people are thinking, I'm broke. And I understand that. But investment is not just money. It's also time and research, self-exploration and all that stuff. But it also takes dollars and cents. So if you are considering cloning your voice, get a lawyer.
And shameless plug for Nava here. If you are a member of Nava, then Robert has offered a discount for reviewing contracts to Nava members.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, it's just it's in the last week that they've come up with an agreement that he is providing a discounted rate for contract reviews. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
We're going to take more questions from the chat and from the room. We typically do this sort of mid-show reminder. If you've joined us partway through the show, this is the Voiceover Round Table here live on Clubhouse every Tuesday evening, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. We talk about all things voiceover with a special focus on our beautiful community. bringing you in-depth interviews, roundtable discussions, special performance events, and industry-leading guests.
And I'm reading it now. And tonight, because I miss it every week, our special guest is Tom Dheere.
She kicks herself. I love it.
Through the chat. And I'm like, oh, crap, that was mine. I was supposed to say something.
And he's like, and the ball just goes to the ground.
It's like all of a sudden it's quiet. I'm like, uh-oh.
You did it. You did it, Em. You did it. Oh, man.
You did great.
We have fun.
Thanks. If anybody has fun, it's the two of us. I mean, I don't know if anyone else is having fun, but we're definitely having fun.
I hadn't noticed.
Okay. Well, there was another question. Nevin, what does the rate look like for use of your AI voice? And how can you figure that out is my little add-on.
Right now it's the Wild West.
Yes.
But there are two primary business models that I have noticed, or compensation models that I have noticed. One is subscription-based, which is the one I'm on, which is, so I can look at my dashboard on Murph and see how much money I'm making. And when it shows the breakdown, it shows it by the people who have subscribed, because Murph is a subscription-based service. So I can see how many people are monthly subscribers versus yearly subscribers, and how many of them are, there's different tiers, premium and grand and grande and venti and whatever they are. I don't remember what.
Can we just go to Starbucks? What's happening?
Maybe I think I'm thirsty. Not just feeling a nice chai right now. But
can I have a pump of chocolate? I need a pump of chocolate, please.
Very nice.
Okay, we're getting off track.
Anyway, and it shows how many seconds that subscriber has used my synthesized voice, and I get paid per increments of seconds for it. So I have no idea what they're using it for. I just know that how much I'm getting paid based on the amount of minutes. Now, for some of you, that may be a red flag. However, in the agreement, they have signed there's morals clauses within the Murph agreement with the subscribers, is that they will not be using it for profanity or pornography or, political stuff, that sort of thing. And like I said, there's a certain percentage of people in every industry that are going to be like, well, I'm not paying attention to that. So I have gotten comfortable with that. Also, I've been doing this for a long time. I started home recording, which means delivering digital files, in 2006. I guarantee that dozens, if not hundreds of my auditions have been stolen and used without me getting paid. And I guarantee my voice has been cloned without my permission or compensation multiple times. And just like every website that you've ever visited or ever will visit will get hacked or has been hacked. That is the reality of life. So you got to just eat it. That's just the way it is. So I'm comfortable with that, because what's the alternative, frankly? Hide under my bed, The other model is using it on a case-to-case basis, where you negotiate it just like you would negotiate any other project, with a usage fee and terms and all of that stuff. So those are the two major models. Now, obviously, the second one is more quote unquote secure, but again, what is secure online these days?
But in that subscription, is there still a chance that someone can, I don't know, crank out a Super Bowl commercial? I mean, I'm like crap, but okay. Well, I'm sure some of the people in our audience have gone to tomdeere.com and listened to some of the samples, and they're like, some of it sounds good and some of it sounds not so good. So trust me, next year, I'm not a betting man, but but it wouldn't surprise me that if a Super Bowl ad is done by AI and it's going to sound like crap, and it's going to be more about the dancing bear thing. You're impressed that the bear can dance, but the bear can't dance very well. But it's dancing. But it's dancing.
It's dancing. It's like, holy crap.
It'll make news. People will be sending out press releases. The company will be the first Super Bowl commercial with an AI voice.
Exactly. And they're going to get that press. Yes. It would not surprise me if that happens next year.
As in 5 months from now. Or when's Super Bowl? Like February? Something like that?
Yeah. Something like that.
Whoa. Wild, wild west. Are we having fun yet, kids? I was, but we go back to what we were talking about earlier of, people who are still enthusiastic about starting.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you tell them? I mean, I was watching a video the other day where I heard, I'm not going to credit them or anything like that, but I'm paraphrasing here. But one person was like, AI is great and it can do this and it can do that and it's saving me time as a producer, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And the other person's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. But she says, if you are thinking about getting into voiceover, or if you're in your bedroom closet with a Blue Yeti microphone, just starting out, never mind, drop it, you're done. That's what they said. They said, drop it, you're done.
I would push back against that.
I hope so.
No, I would push back against that. Get good training. If you get good training, if you can learn how to become an engaging storyteller, your job is to be better than the AI for as long as you can.
Yeah.
And there's no shame in having a Blue Yeti. It's not. Yeti on my gear recommendation.
I was quoting a person. So anybody out there, I'm seeing Selena, I have a Blue Yeti. No, it was more about what the person was saying, and that's what they said word for word. Yeah, it was almost derogatory.
Tend to have lower budget USB microphones, and the Blue Yeti is one of them. And you know what? It's totally fine to start with that. And as you progress and you start to develop your skills and develop your revenue streams, and you can budget for a better microphone. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. That's totally fine. But look, here's the thing: is that when I started. And when I did my first voiceover in 1996, there were very few people doing voiceover. Maybe a few hundred, maybe 1,000 or a couple of thousand doing voiceover. And they all lived in metropolitan areas because that's where the studios and the agents and the production companies are.
Yeah.
And then the internet really started to take off, and pay-to-play started, and home recording started, and then there was an explosion, and then the barrier for entry dropped. And then when COVID hit, the floodgates opened even more.
Yeah.
With AI coming in and the voiceover industry is contracting, when it's all done, the voice actors who will be left standing, and I don't mean it like that way, is that they'll be the ones that are talented, engaging storytellers.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I don't see a problem with that.
No, I was speaking to someone today, and she's relatively new. She has an acting background, kind of left acting for a while, did all the stuff, and then she's interested in voiceover, and she's doing the work, like she's coaching and doing all this stuff. But she's like, I put aside this much money, kind of as my startup money that for the next couple of years, and there's this much is going to demos and this much is going to blah 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 blah. And I was like, I think that maybe it would be a better idea for you to not have like a rigid budget for each section and put more of your funds into coaching, because you're never going to stop coaching.
Yep.
I was like, you don't need to have 12 demos to start as a voice actor.
You need one.
You just need the commercial demo, and that's it. I was like, outside of that, the rest
figure it out from there.
Will come.
Yep.
They will come later. You don't need to have all of them. Like, now I've got my website and I've got my voice am, and I'm like, you don't need any of that. Get your demo, your commercial demo, when you're ready to do it.
Yep.
Coach, continue to coach, because the good coaches are also going to help connect you as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you're right. It's that people keep saying that. They're like, all of the producers, all of the casting directors keep driving the same message home. They just keep saying, just be really, really good.
Yeah.
Be really, really good.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. More questions. These are fun.
I think that the bottom line in all of that, education and training and coaching is paramount, more so today than it ever has been, but it's always been, but more so today, because I think I go back to that nasty quote, and I'm feeling so guilty about just, this person said this, and but I think the extrapolated version of that is if you think you can just buy a starter kit and set up in your closet but not get any coaching, then if you're not going to invest in any kind of training or coaching or anything like that, and you're just going to throw your hat into the ring and I'm going to start voiceover, it's going to be a tough go. It's going to be a tough go, and it's only going to get tougher.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
More questions, please.
Nevin says, AI isn't going away and will get even more prevalent because the amount of money that's being invested in it, just like the .com boom, the millionaires are going gangbusters. Nowhere to invest. Make sure, tech is in your portfolio, kids.
Absolutely.
Right beside that crypto. Right.
Yeah,
beside
seriously.
that crypto.
Ethereum. All of those fun things.
Yeah.
But it's true. Humanization in reads is so much more important now to be competitive. So here's another thing. I have one of my agents for a long time insisted that breaths, mouth pops, clicks, blah, 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 were removed. If you sent in an audition with a breath in it, even if it was part of, I'm not talking about now I'm saying a really long sentence. I'm talking about, actual breaths because you're a human person and you breathe when you speak. If those breaths were left in, then all hell would break loose. And one of the things that I'm getting from all the casting directors that I work with and other agents is leave them in. Leave them in, because the more human you sound, the more conversational you sound, and you are going to be poppy and clicky and breathy and all of the things. As long as it's not super duper annoying, like it's the only thing that you can hear, leave that stuff in, because it's part of it. It's part of the realness of your sound. Thoughts?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, it depends on what I'm doing. It depends on the audition that I'm doing. Like if it's like, this is a 15-second spot and I'm auditioning for it, I'm going to try to make it a 15-second spot.
Yeah.
Because there's obviously a certain sense of urgency that needs to come with it. There's probably not room for breaths.
Yep.
But with almost anything else, yeah, Emma, I think you're right. The more dirt you can have on the potato, that demonstrates that it's a human narrating this and it's an organic performance. You have to be a voice seeker who really doesn't understand what's going on to not think that, well, they breathe, so clearly we can't work with this person.
Yeah,
because they have lungs. It's like, no,
terrible.
You know what I mean. So there's something to that, Emma. Absolutely.
And Amanda in the audience is saying she's heard AI recordings that have breath. Yes, absolutely. There are AI recordings that have mouth clicks and pops and breath speak for that exact reason. They're trying to make it as human sounding as possible.
When I did my stuff for Murph, after I did the initial, files, they sent me another file that was a bunch of interjections, and they wanted me to breathe in various ways for exactly that reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Aiden's saying that breaths are huge in video game work. Absolutely, because you are portraying a person.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Especially video game, because it's so character driven. You are a person. People breathe.
Especially when they're doing exertions.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. We're going to wait for some more questions, hopefully in the chat. I got one I want to throw at you, Tom.
Sure.
So, we talked a little bit earlier about the kinds of stuff that you work with voice actors on and coach and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take two different new clients. So let's take, I'm going to volunteer myself, 10 years professional full-time in the business, a few agents and, working in a few genres and stuff like that. I'm coming to you, and what are we going to do? And then the other one is someone who is, brand new. Maybe they've just done their shiny new demo and they've got a recording space and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing differently? What are we doing the same? What's the rub? What's the experience?
That's a great question. The process is essentially the same, which is it starts with a diagnostic, where I will ask you a series of very uncomfortable questions. The reason I say they're uncomfortable is because either I ask you a question and you don't understand the question, or I ask you the question and you really don't want to give me the answer. Because the first thing is I want to know that you don't know what you don't know. So if part of the diagnostic is what's your CRM? And if someone says, what's a CRM? I'll be like, aha, okay, well, that's something we need to work on. Right. You know what I mean? Or, and a question I always ask is, what is the biggest thing that keeps getting in your way? And, it's always the same thing. Everybody says the same thing. Me, fear, procrastination, self-doubt. It's always the same answer.
Ask Emma, what gets in my way, Emma?
What is it? Trust issues.
There we go.
Trust.
Oh, boy. We have to do that trust exercise where you fall and we catch you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
what's next?
He's like, no.
Okay. But here's the thing, Mike, is that your job, regardless of where you are in the voiceover industry, is to be relevant and stay relevant.
Yeah.
A new voice actor needs to understand what relevance is and what it means. For more experienced voice actors like you, it's, are you clinging on to what you used to think relevance is? And that is a big problem for a lot of veteran voice actors right now. They're the ones that are the most obnoxious on the social media voiceover groups that are shouting at the clouds. And
Get off my lawn.
Yeah, they're the ones that say pay-to-plays are garbage. It's all for newbies and bottom feeders. AI is garbage. It's going to never replace me. Direct marketing is everything. They are woefully misguided. I'm really sorry to say. And I would love to have, arguments with them over a beer over that, because I still do direct and indirect marketing strategies, but I have learned that pay-to-play sites is where the relevance is, because I lost a crap ton of clients over the years because I scoffed at pay-to-plays, and a lot of them migrated from curating their own roster manually to going to pay-to-plays because it's just easier for them. And I didn't follow them, and it damaged my business. And now I've been in catch-up mode for the past couple of years by being on Voice123 and Voices.com and I have auditioned for clients that I used to work with that won't take my call anymore because they went to pay-to-plays, and I said, no, I'm a real voice actor. I'll be over here during my direct marketing. They're like, I don't watch your emails. I get thousands of emails from voice actors like you. I've got stuff to do. Just think about it, everybody. Think about this. For those of you in the audience, what percentage of any project that any voice seeker is working on actually involves voiceover? 5%? 10%?
If that.
Maybe?
Yeah.
However, all of you, and I say the royal you, I'm sure you're all wonderful people, are just thinking that all these people do is wake up in the morning and go, hello, if only I could find a wonderful voice actor that I can give gobs of money to, and they just spend the whole day looking for you. You narcissistic masochist. You self-indulgent, egomaniac voice actor. Okay? This is factually untrue. They've got budget meetings and production designs, and they're talking to the accounting department and the legal department, and they're storyboarding and doing a billion other things. So when it finally comes time for them to cast a voice actor, they're just going to go to Voice123 or Voices.com. So they've got other stuff to do. And the majority of those wonderful marketing emails that you painstakingly crafted went straight to their spam filter. They never saw them. Yeah. It's just, it's true. Just percentages. It's just math.
Yeah.
So like I said, I still do direct marketing and it still works, but it works 90% less than it used to. 90%, I think it's a fair number. So when I do it, I make sure I'm very, very smart about it. Very, very calculated.
Yes.
But for the majority of voice actors, regardless of experience level, you should be on pay-to-plays auditioning 10 to 15 times a day, learning how to feed the algorithms, develop your project management skills. That's what will make you an effective voice actor in 2023.
Yep.
I love that. We do have a few questions coming in from the audience. How should artists approach agents or production companies these days? And there's a part 2 to that question.
Well, my obnoxious answer is don't. If you're early in your journey, you have no value to demonstrate to an agent. But I'm talented. Yeah, well, that's nice. That and 50 cents will get you a phone call. You need to develop your project management skills. Your project management skills is everything that happens from the moment that the audition hits your inbox to the moment that the check clears. Everything in between is project management skills. Your talent will get you the first gig with a client. Your project management skills will get you the second gig with the same client.
Yep.
Because if you don't know what to do when it's time to press the red button, and you don't know how to communicate a retake policy or ask them if the script has been approved by their legal department, you are useless as a voice actor. I don't care how pretty or interesting or quirky your voice is. So don't worry about agents anytime soon. Don't worry about production companies anytime soon. Get on pay-to-plays and develop your project management skills. Develop your communication skills. Then start, because pay-to-play sites are for short-term and long-term investment, because it's just part of the landscape of voiceover nowadays. It just is. Also, this will make anybody feel better, roughly 5% of my revenue is from representation. Roughly 30-40% is from online casting sites, and the balance is from marketing. But it's from direct and indirect marketing that's primarily holdover of legacy clients that I've had some as long as 25 years.
Yeah.
And every year that goes past, that direct marketing number keeps shrinking and the online casting site number keeps growing, just because that's the landscape of the voiceover industry. And I have only in the past couple of years gotten comfortable with that reality.
Yeah.
Oh, I just want to say something. Nevin said you can definitely tell it's an AI voice. No offense, Tom. I'm not offended. It doesn't sound great. I can tell it's an AI voice. Well, it's me. Anybody can tell it's an AI voice. You know what I mean? But that's the thing. That's another point I want to make about AI really quick, is that the samples that you hear on my website, they're not there to convince you to use AI to be the voice of your next explainer video. It's there to demonstrate my general sound, so you can use me as part of your 10,000 prompt telephony tree, or to read articles aloud, or emails aloud, or if you visit somebody's website, it can read the content off of the website. That's what it's for, large scale projects.
Yeah.
That's where your AI voices can be really, really effective, not necessarily in an explainer video, because a lot of it isn't good enough for an explainer.
Makes sense. The second part to that question, just because it's still there, are artists and production companies still adding actors or artists in the wake of AI, or has that slowed down?
Well, it's interesting because almost everybody I know in the business had a terrible April this year. And my theory is that ChatGPT came out, November, December of last year.
Yeah.
Everybody freaked out. And then April was the first month of the second quarter, where companies could reallocate their budget. So what I'd like to think is that some of them are like, let's put some money towards this and give it a try.
Yep.
And so that was the first month of the second quarter. And my third quarter, which is I'm in the third of 3 months of my third quarter, has been pretty good. I've had a good quarter this year. My second quarter was crap.
Yeah.
Oh my God, April was, I'm just looking at my financials. It was the worst.
Right?
Dark days.
That's why I'm thinking that's what was going on. I think a lot of them were tinkering, and now some of them are coming back.
Yeah.
And it's not that, oh, this is terrible, I'll never go back to it. It's just like, okay, it doesn't do exactly what we want it to do the way we want to do it, but we're going to hip pocket it. And there's other things it could be used for, like that telephony phone tree, or like API to, narrate the website, that sort of stuff. So there's going to be a point where the dust is going to settle, and the voice seekers are going to see what it can and can't do. The voice actors are going to see how they can be involved in it. And I will say this, guys, is that the tech people are working, even as we speak, to try to eliminate voice actors from the equation. And it's not for nefarious reasons. It's just, tech people will try, for tech people, what's the thing? If your only tool is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. For tech people, the answer to every problem is tech.
Right.
So, I don't know how many of these AI companies are actually going to keep onboarding human voice actors, because there's going to be a point where the tech's going to get so good they won't need us to onboard.
It'll just be clones of clones of clones.
It'll just be clones of clones.
You've changed the variation, morph two of them together and things like that.
Yeah.
Talking about the bad months and the good months, I'm thinking anecdotally, I remember seeing a number of posts on social media, like midsummer kind of thing, of people saying, the client wrote to me and said, oh, we tried this AI thing, but it didn't really work out the way we want. So can you do it for us? And here we are to save the day.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's okay. Everybody tries new technology, and some of it works and some of it doesn't work the way you want it to work, and some of it doesn't work at all. So I will never begrudge a company for trying a new widget to see if it'll make their business more efficient. I mean, heck, I'm using AI stuff to help write some of my, stuff, because I've got a lot of stuff to write. I use AI to help transcribe my video blog, so I don't have to type it and listen back to myself. Am I cheating? No, I'm not cheating. It's a tool to make my life easier.
Oh, 100%. You're being more efficient with your time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what the voice seekers are trying to do too.
Yeah.
Well, on that theme, since we don't have something in the chat right just
do.
yet, let's go.
We
We
have two
do.
questions. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry.
I'll answer them quickly.
It's a part one, part two. How do you do direct marketing? What is your careful method that you speak of?
We don't have another hour to talk about this, so there's no way in God's green earth I can possibly start to answer that question.
But ChatGPT could create that for you overnight.
I will answer that question as shamelessly as possible.
Fantastic.
And go to my video library at the VO Strategist website and purchase direct marketing. I have marketing for performers. I have a whole bunch of videos that are about marketing that can help you. And actually, the videos are $30, but right now, marketing for performers and a video about representation is rentable this month for only $5. You can rent it.
Deal.
They're all streaming videos.
Smart.
So you can rent those videos for $5. So
Listen, if you paid $7.99 for live action of some movie, here I was about to stick my foot in my mouth and I was like, don't say the name of a movie, you're gonna. But yeah, then that's totally worth it.
Yeah. I'd love, and if you want a little more information for you who asked the question, book a free 15-minute consult with me, and I can give you a little bit more insight into it.
Can Mike, do you have the website, or can someone put that into the chat?
I can
Please.
pin. You want me to pin something up top?
Yes, please.
What are we pinning?
We are pinning Tom's, not your voice site, the VO Strategist.
VOstrategist.com.
Please and thank you. That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's just VO, not the VO Strategist.
Yep.
VO.
VOstrategist.com.
Let's try that.
Mm-hmm.
It is shared. There you go.
Logo.
Boom.
That's exciting.
Let's go back to our listener on the line. How you doing, chat? We touched on this a little bit earlier, but this was seriously one of the questions that came out of the robot. And it's kind of like it's right in your pocket here. Voiceover artists often have a deep passion for their craft. How do you guide clients in balancing the artistic integrity of their work with the commercial necessities of making a living?
I tell them that I have rent to pay. No, I never. I never say that. Usually that doesn't come up. It usually never gets to that point because I've gotten to the point where I can basically see all the red flags that tells me that they are shopping in the wrong aisle. If that makes sense.
I'm an artist. I don't want to worry about this CMR or what are you talking about thing.
Yeah, well, if for those of you who think like that, I recommend community theater.
True. Yeah.
And I say that with love.
You want to be
because, if you want to be a true artist and not be bothered with all the grown-up poopy stuff, then don't be a voice actor. Yeah. Or read to the blind. Or, go to the library and, be volunteer for story time. And those are wonderful, worthwhile endeavors, but they're for amateurs.
Yeah.
The voiceover business is for professionals. You have to put up more money up front and through the long term than almost any other profession and in the performing arts. Mm-hmm. It's a slog, and the learning curve is in its own way tougher than almost any other profession as well, because it's not just learning how to dance, learning how to sing, learning how to act. It's learning how to, there's a lot of the others of the stuff, there's a lot of overlap, but for us, with recording gear and marketing strategies and time management and workflow and how to file your taxes, how to manage your finances, how to find insurance, how to save for retirement. It's a lot of stuff. And if you are an autiste, then this is not the place for you.
I'm an artist.
Yeah, I'm an artist. I'm an artist too who has a bad habit of eating.
Disgraceful.
Such a terrible app.
I know. I'm up to like 3 times a day. It's awful.
Oh my God.
I know. So
no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, not everyone is an artist, but there are quite a few artists in the voiceover industry. But all of this is right. And it's when I first posted about this, because I was so excited that you were coming on the show, people on Facebook were kind of running with the whole business part of it. They're like, business? What is this business you speak of? This is incredulous. This is outrageous. This is ridiculous. This is whatever. So it was quite funny. But I mean, we talk about this all the time, that this is a business and people generally don't recognize that it is. And it's kind of a rude awakening when you do realize that you're forking a ton of money forward to get started, and you have to be smart about that. And if you don't have business savvy, if you don't understand the business of voiceover, you're probably putting your money where you shouldn't be.
Yeah. A lot of people come to the voiceover business because they're trying to run away from all the stuff that they have to do in their cubicle at their
The JOB stuff.
And let me tell you something. It's even harder over here because here there is no job description. There is no one telling you what to do, and there's no one holding you accountable but you.
Yeah.
That's what makes voiceover exponentially more difficult, because you have to do everything you had to do in that poopy 9-to-5 job. You just got to figure out what it is and do it. I never sugarcoat it. My job as the VO strategist is to sell the reality of the voiceover industry and do everything I can to set everybody up for success by giving them as much data as possible so they can make informed decisions about how to move their voiceover business forward, whether you like it or not.
Well, it's like I just got my US visa, which was very stressful and a very long process. But the interview process of when you finally, like the last step is it's the second to last step, is the interview process. And that was one of the questions that the person was asking me. They're like, so what do you do in this business? Like, do you have employees? How many people work for you? I was like, nope. I am chief bottle washer. Like, I am down to janitor. Like, I am all of the things. And they were like, really? I was like, yeah, that's just kind of the nature of the beast. I was like, yeah, obviously I have people that I contract out, stuff like that. But if I do not have any employees, I run the business. Mm-hmm. And they were like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, for most people, that's like mind-blowing. They just can't get their arms around it.
Yep. And what's pretty crazy, Mike.
Yeah.
I feel like we should ask one more of those.
Try.
They were so fun.
They're not bad. I mean, they're not bad.
Yeah, give it.
This one. Do you dabble a little bit in the branding stuff?
I do.
Does that? Yeah. So here's one. It called this Dynamics of Self-Branding. And it's good because we talked about online platforms and stuff like that. Now we can throw in the social media to the thing. It says, with the surge of online platforms and social media, how important is self-branding for a voiceover artist today? And what are your top recommendations for an artist looking to distinguish themselves in a saturated market?
Those are really good questions, right? You go with your bad self, ChatGPT. It's your birthday.
I think I've Chat GPT'd myself out of a co-hosting job here.
I know, right? You just have him do it.
Nah. I'll keep you.
Okay. So this is also another, I'm going to call it a misconception that most people coming into the voiceover industry thinks they need to brand themselves immediately.
Right.
The question is, should you brand? And if so, why should you brand? And then if so, how should you brand? I think the vast majority of voice actors don't need to bother, frankly, because the vast majority of voice actors are going to get the vast majority of their work on a pay-to-play site.
Yeah.
And there's no branding there. I mean, some of them won't even let you, work off-site with the clients. So
no, yeah,
you're there. It's the casting site's job to do all the branding, to lure the clients to, pay to be on and get matched up with you, and we provide great, wonderful human voiceover services.
Yeah.
If you do decide you want to brand, the most important thing to do is just be you. Be tell the story of you. I mean, if you want to be the voiceover chef and I'll cook up a great voiceover for you, I mean, that's fine, but do you know how many people are actually going to your website? Like, nobody's going to your websites. There are tens of thousands of voice actor websites out there, and they're all built by the same company. And I love Joe and Karen, but it's like, and they're great websites, but unless you are an SEO expert, no one's going to find your website. Nobody's going to Google it and find it. It's just not going to happen unless your
niche
demographic is
your niche. Yeah.
You're a Micronesian, voice actor who specializes in this, obscure dialect, whatever, not come up. So your job is to learn how to develop direct and indirect marketing strategies in an effort to drive traffic to your website. And again, it's more about just being you. Because here's the thing, a good chunk of the conversation tonight was about AI, is that if they are going to vet you, first thing they're going to look is to see if you're human. Okay? Also, get comfortable with the fact, kids, that no voice seeker is paying any attention to anything that any of you are doing on social media. They don't care. Because you know what they're doing on social media? They're too busy desperately posting their crap so they can get clients. They are not paying attention to anything that we're doing. The only time they are is if they're looking to see if we're NDA violators, client bashers, or just some form of religious or political whack job.
Yeah, fanatics and stuff like that.
All right.
Keep it clean, folks. Keep it clean.
It's the thing. Keep it clean. Be aware of if you're posting a picture that has a drink in your hand, or if you're at this certain political rally or that certain political rally, because you have the potential to alienate voice seekers. If you don't care and you feel strongly about your value system and you will only work with people who share your values, then fine. That's great. Just expect to get a lot less work than you could. But you got to do you, So for everybody that's listening, I wouldn't worry about branding anytime soon, like I wouldn't worry about an agent anytime soon, like I wouldn't worry about joining SAG-AFTRA anytime soon. Focus on you, being a good storyteller, developing your project management skills, and auditioning your face off.
Yeah, Tim Tibbetts says clients will often check your socials if they haven't hired you before. That's true.
Yeah, they'll vet you, but beyond that, are they going to follow you on LinkedIn and like everything that you post? No, they're making their own content that they're trying to get other people to like.
Yep.
Just the one thing I wanted to add about pay to plays, and you were talking earlier about legacy customers that people that you've been with before, and I'm finding if you're on pay to plays long enough, you end up with some legacy customers from pay to plays.
Yes,
true. Some of them even move off platform, some stay on platform. I mean, I've got some clients that I've been with for 7-8 years now, and that's great.
Yeah, 90% of Voice 123 voice seekers will work with you off-site.
Yeah,
that's a stat. Rolf himself said it at a recent conference.
Yeah,
so that's fine. I'm cool with that. Some people want it that way, but you know what? Last year was the first time that I got stiffed in over 25 years. Last year was the first time I got stiffed for getting paid as a voice actor.
Oh, wow.
And it happened twice, and it both happened outside of casting sites. It happened through direct marketing clients.
Yeah.
So anecdotally, that's all I know.
Yeah.
So keeping them on pay-to-play sites with the escrow, the sure pay for voices.com, if you book it on there, you're getting paid.
And there's a reason why I think you're right to say we need to remove the vilification. Like I'm saying, I keep getting told not to go on pay to plays. It's saturated. It's not worth any time and everything like that. And there are a group of people that keep vilifying pay to plays.
Well, somebody just asked that exact question in the chat.
Yeah, that's what I was reading.
Not to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was reading.
Yeah.
But my thing that I want to ask, or I want to say too, is there are clients, good high quality, good well-paying clients. I recently did a job for a government agency that they choose to book voiceovers via voice.com. It's their choice.
Yeah.
And so if that's their choice, why would I fight that?
You can't, or you shouldn't. When I started doing voiceover, when I did my first gig in 1996, the voice seekers were in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. Now they're in their 20s, 30s, 40s.
Yeah.
The voice seekers have gotten decades younger, which also means they are that much more comfortable with modern technology, which means they're that much more comfortable with a pay-to-play site. They don't have a cultural issue with it. It's like, why wouldn't I use these sites? It's just easier and faster.
Yep. One-stop shop.
One-stop shop.
Very true. This has been pretty amazing. And like chock-a-block, like
kind of fun. Wall to wall. It's been great.
Thank you. I love when there's nights like this where it's just like it just rolls, like it just keeps going and everything kind of follows itself. It's wonderful. So thank you for being on the show. Thank you for being such a great guest.
Aw, thank
Big
you.
thanks, Tom.
Thanks for your great questions, ChatGPT.
And now, do I now have to disclose every week to our guests that the following question was provided by?
I believe you do.
I do. Something like that. I got to write my own questions.
But you know what? You should have maybe at least one ChatGPT question per episode. It's
I
kind
see
of
people
fun.
can guess.
It could be a thing.
Or make them guess which is real,
Yes.
which is from you, and which
I
is
like that.
ChatGPT.
I like that.
There you go.
And next time we have you on, we'll put you through the rapid fire question series. We didn't do that this time because we were just tight for time, but yeah, that's a fun one too. But anyways, Tom, thanks so much for being with us. Reminding people, I think the link should still be up at the top of the page, vostrategist.com. Voiceover business consultant. Tom can help. You got questions? He got answers.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you so much for being with us, Tom. Emma, what's going on next week?
Next week, we have casting director Peter Pamela Rose joining us. I've never worked with Peter, and she was a recommendation from Mandy Fisher, who is a TikTok genius and friend of mine. And we're going to talk about looping ADR, but we're also going to talk about core work. We're going to talk about imposter syndrome. We're going to talk about all sorts of fun stuff. She is a hoot. I had a quick Zoom call with her today just to meet her, and she is a hoot. I am so excited about this show.
Love it. I'm looking forward to it. Looping, cool.
Yeah.
And looping and more, we'll say.
Yeah.
Hope you'll join us next week. We're here every Tuesday evening, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, here on Clubhouse Live for the Voiceover Round Table. Till next week, see you then.
Thanks, everybody.